Nike doesn't actually manufacture sneakers. If you read through their financial filings, the word manufacturing is completely missing. Their most valuable assets aren't factories, heavy machinery, or supply chains. They're two trademarks, the name and the swoosh. This is the asset-light model. Instead of maintaining equipment and managing massive labor forces, Nike outsources physical production to contractors in Vietnam and Indonesia. By reinvesting that saved capital straight into product design and marketing, they build the intangible meaning behind the brand. That meaning was originally established by the founders, track coaches and runners who obsessed over product performance. They were lifers, embedded deeply in athletic heritage, building shoes they actually needed to compete in. Because Nike doesn't own the physical production lines, its cultural relevance is the entire business. If people stop caring about the story attached to the swoosh, the multi-billion-dollar machine grinds to a halt. The strategy crystallized in the 1970s when Nike signed distance runner Steve Prefontaine. He embodied the rebellious, individualistic spirit of the running boom. He was loud, incredibly fast, and he cemented Nike's brand association with winning at all costs. In the 1980s, they repeated the playbook with Michael Jordan. They designed a shoe that intentionally broke the NBA's uniform color rules. When the league penalized Jordan, Nike paid the $5,000 per game fines and ran ads highlighting the controversy, generating massive cultural hype and artificial scarcity. This storytelling formula conquered the industry. By the early 2000s, Nike controlled 42% of the U.S. athletic footwear market. By late 2021, the company's valuation peaked at $260 billion. Then the leadership philosophy shifted. In 2020, Nike handed the CEO role to John Donahoe, an executive with a resume featuring tech companies like eBay and ServiceNow. His mandate was to transition Nike into a digital-first distribution company. The company stopped thinking like a scrappy sports innovator obsessed with athletic performance and started managing itself like a software distributor, maximizing user acquisition. At first, the timing looked perfect. The 2020 lockdowns triggered an e-commerce boom. With physical stores closed and stimulus checks clearing, consumers bought massive amounts of retro sneakers online, artificially inflating Nike's digital sales numbers. Emboldened by this digital surge, Nike decided to cut out the middleman. They severed or strictly limited ties with wholesale giants like Foot Locker and Dick's Sporting Goods to push customers toward their own direct-to-consumer platforms. This margin breakdown illustrates the flaw in that logic. Direct-to-consumer models hide massive logistical expenses. Once Nike eliminated the wholesale partner, they had to absorb all the costs of customer acquisition, handling returns, and shipping individual shoeboxes directly to front doors. The profit margins barely budged. Worse, pulling out of physical retail created a visibility problem. Stores act as billboards. Without hundreds of thousands of pairs sitting on shelves across the country, Nike lost its physical connection to the casual shopper walking through a mall. By prioritizing digital spreadsheets over physical shelf space, Nike vacated prime real estate. They created a massive void in the physical market, exactly when their hungry rivals were ready to step in. Specialized running brands like On and Hoka immediately claimed those empty shelves. While Nike was busy restructuring its sales channels, these challengers were actively developing new VizTech, highly visible, instantly recognizable cushioning systems that consumers could feel. Nike's internal focus also alienated the core asset of its storytelling, the athletes. Roger Federer shocked the sports world by leaving his longtime Nike partnership to sign with Uniqlo and On Running. The bleeding continued. Simone Biles left for Athleta, citing a desire for a partner that better aligned with her values. And Tiger Woods ended a nearly 3-decade relationship with the swoosh to launch his own apparel line. This market share chart highlights the damage. While Nike's direct-to-consumer digital sales dropped 20% by fiscal 2025, nimble challengers like On and Hoka experienced triple-digit revenue growth. The brand lost its grip on the cultural zeitgeist. Gen Z consumers started viewing Nike as a heritage brand, a company that sells retro basketball shoes from the 80s, rather than an active performance innovator. The swoosh lost its aura because the company stopped building the boundary-pushing physical products that originally gave the logo its weight. This stock chart tracks the fallout of gutting wholesale and stalling innovation. Net income fell 44%, And during a single trading session in June 2024, shares dropped 20%, wiping out $28 billion in market value in hours. While managing this internal crisis, the external environment turned hostile. The U.S. government implemented reciprocal tariffs, placing heavy new fees on products manufactured overseas. Because Nike relies so heavily on contractors in Vietnam, Indonesia, and China, these new policies added an estimated $1.5 billion to their tax bill. The company now has to either raise prices on a consumer base already turning away, or absorb the costs and crush their remaining profit margins. They are pinned between a broken internal sales strategy and a sudden severe penalty for their historic offshore manufacturing model. Faced with total stagnation, the board reversed course. They ousted the tech CEO and brought Elliot out of retirement. Hill is a lifer who started as an apparel intern in 1988, hired specifically to restore the company's historic, sports-obsessed culture. The new strategy is an admission of guilt. Nike is actively courting the physical retail partners they abandoned and pushing their design teams to finally release new sensory concepts like Nike Mind, rather than just endlessly recoloring vintage silhouettes. But rebuilding trust with burned retail partners and reestablishing an empty innovation pipeline takes time. Analysts expect this turnaround effort to drag on for at least 18 to 24 months. Nike's stumble exposes a strict limitation of modern corporate strategy. Treating a physical product company like a tech platform might optimize a quarterly spreadsheet, but it hollows out the core brand. If you forget how to make things people actually want to wear, the efficiency of your distribution network doesn't matter.